All right, guys, I'd be lying to you if I was gonna tell you. Again, the trip to fan might be hitting a little bit early. Again, it ain't even Thanksgiving yet, and this is like that. But anyway, today, again, we got the turducken in the oven. Everything's getting ready to go. Here's my predictions for all the Thanksgiving games, as well as college football rivalry week, guys. Don't overlook that. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Funville. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoy all these games that I'll be getting through today. Also, we will be having the college football playoff top 25. I'll have all my opinions on what we're doing with that, as well as the game day picks for the final week of the regular season. It's also rivalry week. A lot of great things are going on, guys. But as you guys can see right here, we do have a triple header here for Thanksgiving. Just some updates for you guys. Again, triple header here for Thanksgiving. That's every single year, which we'll talk about in a minute. Again, this first game, which we'll obviously predict as well. And then tomorrow, we have Black Friday game. The prediction for that, I think, will come out sometime on Thanksgiving night. I'm going to try to get out like similar to this time. So, again, maybe a little bit later because, again, the game's a little bit later. So, a little bit more flexibility with that. Also want to just get it out to you guys so you can actually see it. And then we'll have the recap of all three of these games on sometime on Friday, if I had to guess. And then, obviously, we'll get into the normal scheduled programming for NFL Sunday, as well as the Monday night game, which hopefully is lives a little bit more up to what. No, it's not good. I'll just put it as that. But as you guys can see, first game we have for Thanksgiving is, as always, the Lions will be hosting it. They've hosted it since like I don't even know, guys. I'm not gonna BS it. They've been hosting Thanksgiving for a really long time. For a lot of years, really every year since Dan Campbell arrived. This team was looked at as a joke on Thanksgiving. They absolutely sucked. But again, like, why are they playing on Thanksgiving? All that stuff. I mean, ratings-wise, it really doesn't make a difference. But they're actually good now. Again, as you all know, the past few years, they've won this division, and now they're looking to maybe do it. I don't know. It's a little more uncertain. But again, Lions coming into Thanksgiving, unlike last year, are a little bit more adversity. They were 10-1 coming into last year. Also, last year, they snapped that losing streak they had on Thanksgiving. It was like 8 straight back to 2016 or something like that. But that game was definitely not pretty. Hopefully this one's a little bit better, though. For the Lions, though, again, like I said, definitely a little bit more adversity for them. They come in at 7-4. They're coming off one of the crazier wins they've had all season. Is Jahmyr Gibbs, their starting running back, had 55 fantasy points. Also ran for a 69-yard, pretty nice touchdown to basically win that game for them in OT against a really bad Giants team. But hey, again, to each their own with that. Packers, though, on the other side, they've kind of had a wishy-washy season. Yes, they're 7-3-1, and they have a very good shot at winning this division. Of course, only a half game back of the Bears right now. Bro, this PC. Anyway, though, yes, 7-3-1. This team obviously, look at the first couple weeks. They obviously beat the Lions in Week 1, 27-13 at Lambeau, where they have struggled a decent amount this year. But overall, it comes down to this team, again, that they haven't really been as consistent as they were the first 2 weeks. Their offense really hasn't been able to put that yardage they need to. Defensively, though, they've been pretty steady Eddie all year, as, again, Jeff Hafley continues to get, again, the buzz of the, again, coaching cycle. This game here in front of the whole country is definitely one way to, again, get a little bit better with that. Anyway, though, this game obviously kicking off Thanksgiving will be at 1 o'clock. It used to be, I think last year it was still at 12:30. I like it a little bit later. I actually can be able to watch it this time. Again, this game usually when people start to eat Thanksgiving dinner, I usually eat it sometime in the third quarter. I don't know, maybe it's before. Again, people do their own thing with that. But this game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox, as well as Fox Support Day, so I don't know. I mean, I just had some Mexican food, so I guess Mexican Thanksgiving, who knows. Fox One, though, is where you can stream it. I think you do need a streaming service. But no worries for those who don't have it. Tubi, you can watch this for free. So realistically, there's no excuse for you not to watch this unless you're getting rage baited by ads, which, again, is your own problem. But for this game, you will have Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, the Super Bowl champ, 7-time, oh my goodness. Tom Rinaldi and Aaron Andrews, those are the people that will be announcing this game. So Fox's top team. On top of that, the Packers were just in Detroit 2 years ago for Thanksgiving. They upset them 29-22 in that game. The Lions were 8-2 at that point in the season. They were really looking to clinch that division, which they obviously ended up doing. But on the Packers side, at that point in the season, they were 4-6. This was a must-win game for them. They were able to win it. So pretty interesting with that. Again, this is obviously a huge game for both these teams. This will definitely go a long way to the tiebreaker. Packers already have a game in hand. This will complete the season sweep. This is a crucial game for the Lions to win. On top of that, though, for the Lions starting lineup, you can see Jared Goff is we'll start with the Lions. It's fine. They're the Thanksgiving team. Sony Vaki's questionable as the backup. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery in the backfield, who hasn't really been the greatest the past couple weeks. Isaac DeSlaw is questionable, as well as Khalif Raymond at receiver. Brock Wright, the tight end, is questionable. He should play. Obviously, Sam Laporte is out for the rest of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Or he's out for a while. I swear it was for the year. They're starting tight end. Offensive line, they have 4 guys questionable. Tate Ratledge, the right guard, who's actually been very surprisingly good for a rookie, is probably, I think, a little bit more doubtful. Nonetheless, you'll obviously get the ins and outs with, who is it, Jake Glazer, the WWE guy, I think. Is that who it is? Right there. Again, on Fox. Again, it loaded. Very, very slim. So it's like Aiden Hutchinson last year. Anyway, though, Terry Arnold and Kerry Joseph, 2 stars in that secondary, both questionable. Secondary that got torched by Jameis Winston last week. Obviously, the Giants starting cornerback for now until Jackson Dart comes back. That's really all I have on the Lions, though. Obviously, their kicker is Jake Bates, who had a really big kicker for them last week, as well as Jack Fox at punter, who has been their longtime punter at this point. For the Packers, Savion Williams is now ruled out. Dontavian Wicks will play. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver, is questionable. Jordan Love, overall, past 2 starts, he's been pretty good. Josh Jacobs, starting running back, has been injured a little bit, so definitely something to watch. Christian Watson had a big Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. Romeo Doubs has been probably the most consistent receiver this year. Tight end's very interesting. Tucker Kraft tore his ACL a couple weeks ago now. Luke Musgrave, who is supposed to be better than him coming out of the draft a couple years ago. They were both drafted in the same draft. He has not been good whatsoever. John Fitzpatrick has sort of emerged as their starter. Offensive line is completely healthy. Zach Tom was questionable, but he will be playing. For this defense, Quay Walker's questionable. Edgerrin Cooper was also questionable. He will be playing. Carl Brooks, though, and Lucas Vaness will both not be playing. They've been struggling with injuries the past couple of weeks. Keyshawn Nixon's also questionable. Nate Hobbs, I guess he got his spot taken. He's questionable. The rest of this defense, though, is completely healthy. Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney coming off a couple of their best games of the season. Brandon McManus and Daniel Willman are the kicker and punter as well. You'll probably see Bo Mellon, a returner, with Savion Williams out, a kicker returner, and then Matthew Orzik is also their long snapper. For this game, if you have not watched past predictions of any sort, you would not know why I do this, but I kind of try to sort this game out in terms of how good I think it'll be. This is probably one of the better games of the week. Realistically, if you stack it up to other weeks, it's probably not one of these games of the week, but considering what we have this week, nothing against the game we're about to get to, but this is probably one of the better games we'll see all week. So definitely something that I think deserves to be in that category for that reason. Now, finally, looking at who I actually see winning this game, this is a monster game for the Lions, guys. There's like really no excuse for them losing this game if they want to prove they're a really, really good team. These are the games they're going to have to win. Packers, again, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. But again, still 2 games in hand against the Bears. But again, the Lions have already beat the Bears once, so you really, again, have to keep that in mind too. This will be a close game. I expect points to be scored. But I honestly think the Lions offensively will have a much more consistent week than they had last week. And again, even with Jahmyr Gibbs putting up 55 fantasy points, which will probably not happen in this game. But I'm going to say the Lions get a monster win against their division rival to avoid the season sweep. Again, here with their 2nd straight win on Thanksgiving after not having won it in nearly 10 years on Thanksgiving. So I'm going to say the Lions win this one 26-23 in what should be a dandy of a game. Now we get to a game that I've been talking about really for the past 6 days. Oh boy, what a game we have here, as this game I was looking forward to since the schedule came out. This was the Thanksgiving games, guys. It's very easy for the NFL to be like, you know what? We're going to get ratings anyway. We're going to put the crappiest game on. The freaking Commanders. I mean, again, that wouldn't have been trash preseason, but Commanders, Cowboys. We'll just do that once again and again and again. And people are still going to watch the game. It's going to be on TV. But they did this. And honestly, hats off to them. Yes, is this game record-wise probably not what you expected? I mean, maybe somewhat. But it's arguably more important just because of that. First off, with the Cowboys, they've again hosted on Thanksgiving since outside of 77 and 79, I think every year since 1966. That might be some niche ball-knowing stat. Who really cares? But this team is in the midst of their first winning streak of the season. They had not won back-to-back games all season. And prior to those, again, this 2-game winning streak, this team was really in a tough spot. 3-5-1, and if they had not beat the Raiders, the Eagles could have won the division by by Friday, which is insane. So the fact that Cowboys, obviously last week, we'll get to that in a minute, were able to do what they did is massive in terms of what we see out of them. Obviously, we look at their playoff standing. They're probably not in the greatest spot. Obviously, they should be. Please be better than the Panthers by the end of the season, just please. But it doesn't really look too promising for them to make the playoffs. Obviously, with the Niners already at 8 wins. But for the Cowboys, this is one of the best offenses in the league outside of really that one game against the Cardinals on that Monday nighter a couple weeks ago. This team has been nails at home on offense, especially in that second half. We look at their game last week. They were obviously down 21-0 in that second quarter. They ended up scoring 24 unanswered to win that one on a game-winning field goal late. Probably shouldn't have been that close in terms of how the Cowboys played the rest of the game. But at the end of the day, they still were able to get that win. Monster comeback against the Eagles. Absolutely wild finish for them. But again, as Cowboys fans, probably one of the more motivating wins you guys have seen in a while. especially here on Thanksgiving. They haven't lost since 2021. We'll get to that game in a second. But here against the Chiefs, who are 6-5 off of their biggest win of the season. They needed that game so bad. Also, their first one-score win, which is 8 or less points on the season. They are now 6-5. This is a must-win territory for them right now, as they are not even in the playoffs right now, as they're tied with the Texans and Steelers, who both have tiebreakers over them because of some, I don't even know. All you need to know is the Bills and Jags are a game up on all these other teams. So, realistically for the Chiefs, these are must-win games at this point. This is a team that, again, has definitely a lot of talent. And again, obviously, Mahomes and all that, we already know all about them, obviously. They're the dynasty and all that. But these are the sort of games you're going to have to show out in, especially in front of the whole country, which they play in any week, in front of every week. But these are the type of games you're going to have to show out in. For this, though, the Raiders, another AFC West team, came in here, again, I think with the exact same record, are very similar back in 2021. They came in here and won an OT 36-33. We're going to see a similar performance by the Chiefs, in my opinion, this one to be able to get it done. With that said, though, CBS, again, Fox and CBS rotate with these, again, 2 games for Thanksgiving. CBS has it this year. This game will be at 4:30 on CBS, as well as Paramount Plus. In terms of who's announcing it, it's going to be Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wilson, CBS's top team. They also have a game on Sunday, so again, they have the 2 games this year, which I don't think they've had in a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, I think the pregame starts at 4, so again, if you bore from that Packers and Lions game for whatever reason, just flip over to here to see what's going on with this one. But anyways, the Chiefs and Cowboys, they don't play very, very often. I think they've only met 2 times over the last 8 years, actually. They played back in 2021. I think it was a very boring game. I think the Chiefs won like 19-9. But they did play back in 2017 in Dallas. That game was absolute madness. I think the Chiefs ended up losing that one. Sorry about the misspelling. Yeah, Cowboys won that one 28-17. Tyreek Hill, obviously former Chiefs receiver, had it was crazy end of that first step. Definitely go recommend watching that highlight. But that's all I have for this one. In terms of again, the Chiefs starting lineup, you guys can see offensively they're relatively healthy. Trey Smith, their superstar right guard, is out. Jalen Moore might start. Mike Kalidio, I guess, would definitely get the look. We'll see, because obviously Jalen Moore is overall a better player. The rest of this offense is healthy, though. Obviously, Rashid Rice having of his best game of the season. Xavier Worthy's also been pretty good. Travis Kelce was good on the last time they were on the road when they played Denver. Defensively, Chris Roland Wallace is out at nickelbacker, so you'll probably see a lot of Noah Williams. The rest of the secondary is completely healthy, though. Obviously, some other role players are on IR, but that's about it. D-line, definitely not the most healthy as they'll be, but they're still pretty much good to go. Obviously, the linebackers are completely fine. Defensively, Harrison Bucker, Matt Reiser, the kicker and punter. For now, moving over to the Cowboys. Offensively, you guys can see Tyler Guyton, their left tackle, is out. Nate Thomas, my guess, would definitely get the start. But the rest of the offense is healthy. CeeDee Lamb has now gone 4 straight games without 100 receiving yards. George Pickens, obviously, is having his career year. Ryan Flournoy is definitely taken over Jalen Tolbert, though, who's, again, just completely fallen on the depth chart, I guess. Defensively, Kalen Carson, the right corner, is questionable, but the rest of this defense is basically healthy. Brandon Aubrey is the kicker. Brian Anger is the punter. Kevontae Turpin's also the returner. Trent Sieg is that long snapper. That's all I have for the Cowboys. And for this game, this is also probably my game of the week. I think that is pretty fair to say. Obviously, it's the 2 biggest names in football. Again, they only play once every 4 years. The fact they maximize this with Thanksgiving, I think, is a great thing. Realistically, they could have had this some random week, and it would have gotten the same amount of viewership. But at the same time, I'm happy to see the NFL took the time to do this. Again, that's a very good move by them. This is the game, obviously, probably the game of the week overall. And for who actually I see winning this game, I really would like to see the Cowboys not beat the Chiefs, obviously, but make this game definitely very, very entertaining. I'm going to say the Chiefs, though, win this one 30-27, what should be a very, very good game. Very similar to this Packers and Lions one. That's all I got from this one. Now let's get to our Thanksgiving night game, which will round all these things out. And wrapping up our Thanksgiving Day predictions, we'll obviously get to our college football picks after this. We do have one of the more coveted game slots, I think, on the entire schedule, which is the Thanksgiving night game. This year's matchup is an AFC North rivalry, which I think is the first time we've had this since 2020. That game actually got moved to a Wednesday. Yeah, that's great. COVID. But anyway, this game is, record-wise, doesn't look too great overall, but considering both the context of this game, I think is a lot more intriguing. First off, for the Bengals, obviously the biggest thing, Joe Burrow is now back. Do I expect him to be at 100% and throwing 500 yards? Honestly, yes. They're going to need it. But, guys, for the Bengals, the real issue the past couple games, they're obviously on a 4-game losing streak. Again, the first 2 you could definitely test their defense. But it's the fact that this offense has not been very good the past 2 games. Obviously, Joe Flacco, their quarterback, threw a pick 6 last week against the Patriots in a 26-20 loss. But Bengals, again, the whole narrative the past few years past few years with them has been the fact that they have a great offense. They're scoring a bunch of points, but defensively, they're absolutely terrible. That has been true for most of this year. Cannot lie about that. But the past 2 games, they've really gotten a lot better, especially look back to that Pittsburgh game. And especially going against this Ravens team should definitely be something to watch. But at the end of the day, It's about Joe Burrow being back, and realistically, they probably should beat the Patriots if Jamar Chase wasn't spitting on people and stuff. But anyway, for the Ravens, they're on a 5-game winning streak. I think that's something people have really overlooked, partly because offensively they really haven't been that great, honestly, since Lamar's came back. He had a toe injury he's been dealing with over the week, which I don't think will be very concerning in this one. But anyway, their defense has been absolutely phenomenal the past couple weeks. That is a huge reason they're on this winning streak. They also technically find themselves atop the division because they have the tiebreaker over the Steelers. We'll obviously see when that settles coming up later in the season. But the Bengals, again, they're basically out of the playoffs. I think they're like a 0 point whatever percentage. Again, if the NFL playoff picture was up, I would be able to show you guys that. But 3-8, they're doing their own thing with that. They're obviously not looking too hot right now. Again, we'll see. Again, if they run the table, you never really know. But for this game, the Bengals played here last year and the year before on a Thursday night. I think it was week 10 and week 11 the past few years. The first year, I think it was Joe Burrow when he broke his wrist. Last year, though, the Bengals and Ravens played an absolute crazy game. I think the Ravens won 35-34. If I'm not mistaken, Jamar Chase had some insane fantasy stat line. All you need to know is this game should have a lot of points being scored in it. I don't really know, though, because the Ravens defense has been pretty good. Nonetheless, this game will be 8:20 as always for the Thanksgiving night game on NBC, because they do have this every year, as well as Universo, Peacock, and I think maybe the NBC Sports app. I might be wrong on that. Also, guys, the Walmart pregame, I think it's like at 8 maybe. It's the game there's not really much of a pregame for this one if I'm not mistaken. I think there is a postgame though for the Chiefs and Cowboys game. That's what I'll say for that though. This should be obviously a pretty fun one. Also, for only game outdoors, obviously, you can see it's going to be pretty chilly. 33 degrees, 9-mile-per-hour winds, clear skies for this game. For the Bengals starting lineup, Joe Burrow is questionable, but he is expected to play. Chase Brown's at running back. Samaje Perine also there. Teagan's out for this game after he suffered a really awful hit last week. But Andre Yosivas, who I think left that game, as well as Mitchell Tinsley, are healthy. Jamar Chase obviously back from that 1-game suspension. Mike Gesicki's their starting tight end. You will see Drew Sample out there a little bit. You'll probably see a lot of Noah Fant. This entire offensive line is healthy, though. For this defense that is obviously had their struggles, Trey Anderson continues not to play. Cam Sample is also questionable, and the rest of this defense is healthy, outside of Cam Taylor-Britt, who is their best player in that secondary. Also, Geno Stone, shout out to him. He had a pick 6 last week. Evan McPherson, Ryan Raquel, kicker and punter. Moving over to the Ravens. For them, Rashad Bateman, their number 2 receiver, is questionable, who's really been their only consistent big play threat recently. Justice Hill is questionable. Derrick Henry hasn't had the greatest season. The offensive line is completely healthy. Obviously, Lamar has not had his greatest performance this past couple weeks. Defensively, Travis Jones and Taylor Bryan are either questionable or doubtful. That's definitely concerning because I would not want to see CJ Okuye out there. Other than that, though, Kyle Hamilton's questionable. Malachi Starks would probably get the start if I had to go. He's just way better than Keanu Jackson, even though he has had a really rough rookie season. Obviously, Alohi Gilman's also there. Free safety. They acquired him from the Chargers not a couple weeks ago, a little before the trade deadline. Nate Wiggins has had a great year. Jobe Awuzie and Marlon Humphrey are also there. Tyler Loop is their kicker, and Jordan Stout is their punter, with LeJounte Webster and Keaton Mitchell at returner. Also, Nick Moore is their long snapper. For this game, I'm going to put this one in must-watch. I think this game will be very fun. I'm not gonna act like this game though is gonna be like what it was like last year. That's I think a little bit of a stretch. But both these teams obviously have a couple of the best quarterbacks in the game, but neither one of these offenses really look, I think, at least in this game, to be able to put up the number of points you're used to seeing. Obviously, the Ravens have a much better chance to, but they haven't really been playing the greatest offense. So I'm gonna say it's definitely a must-watch game, but I don't know if it's a game of the week per se. And overall, who do I see winning this Thanksgiving night game? I'm gonna say the Ravens figure it out. I think that they actually will be able to shut down that Cincinnati offense somewhat. I think they're not going to be as many points as you might have thought. Obviously, the Ravens win this one 27-17. Should be a pretty good game, though. I hope it's going to be competitive for most of the way. Definitely something good to fall asleep to. That is all I have for you guys here in our Thanksgiving games. Obviously, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you guys get great food. Obviously, don't eat too much turkey because then you're going to be passing out by the time of the end of the third quarter from the Lions game. But that is all I have for you guys here. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I will now be going to the college football Week 14 rivalry week, the last week of the regular season. Here are the picks and my reaction for the playoff right here. Alright guys, we had a pretty interesting week of college football. No games that were too major. Trust me guys, next year we'll have a whole separate thing to discuss all this. But kind of bridging the gap this year with this college football stuff. But again, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. Definitely skip forward to whatever I put on for the timestamp. I'm probably not going to put a timestamp for it. But as y'all know, there's a college football playoff show, Top 25. We're releasing the rankings every week. I am in favor of the college football playoff and ESPN releasing a ranking every week. The fact they have to have a whole goddamn show for it on a Tuesday night, 2.5 days after the AP poll releases their rankings, is absolutely ridiculous. Get these things out as fast as possible. Not AP poll. I mean, yeah, I guess. But playoff committee, meet Sunday. Get your rankings out quicker. That's all I'll say. You don't need to have it come out this week. Obviously, it's not likely, but say there's a MAC team that's it's so unlikely. this isn't a good argument. But still, say there's a MAC team that's freaking like 8-0 and they're playing on a Tuesday night. Like they're scheduled like the MAC, hashtag MACtion Tuesday nights, all that. What are you supposed to do? You can't rank them because the rankings aren't out yet. Like, what the hell are we doing, guys? Like, actually, it's actually PMO like that. But nonetheless, we do have our rankings out at this point, which is good. Rivalry week's always the best week for college football. We'll get to the big games. Obviously, we have the game to talk about. Obviously, cross out the M for all those Ohio State fans. Or actually, Lowbro State. That's what we've been calling them. And again, if they lose a 5th straight year, oh my god. Oh my gosh. But anyway, college football playoff rankings. This week, again, there's 2 more that will be coming out. We have one coming out on Tuesday for post-rivalry week, post-regular season. Then obviously, after the championship games, conference championship games next Saturday, and technically Friday, we'll have the final rankings, I think, at noon on Sunday. Finally, an actual, like, reasonable time to release your playoffs. But again, we'll have our bowl picks the next, so looking at this overall, week 14, for Thursday Night Football, we'll have the predictions for the conference championship games. And then on the next week, for week 15 Thursday Night Football, I'll give you guys all my bowl picks. And then week 16, I'll be the literal day before the college football playoff, that Thursday Night Football game. I'll give you guys obviously the prediction of the Thursday Nighter, and then I'll also give you guys my college football playoff bracket predictions as well. And then the next week, week 17, we don't really have much to talk about, which is kind of sad. But hey, womp womp, I guess. Anyway, you can see making their way in the top 25 is Arizona. They're 8-3. They're playing Arizona State this week. Honestly, I don't even give a crap about them. They have a good offense. Their defense has some good players. Not really much else going on for them. Tulane, they're probably going to make the playoff if they don't choke, which I don't really know what's going to happen. This American Conference is a joke. But, yeah, you guys can see James Madison. I don't know where they're at, but they're not in the top 25 yet. They're 10-1. But anyway, next up we have Georgia Tech, who got absolutely obliterated by Pitt. Haynes King sucked. That was a really tough game to watch, but they're probably not going to make the playoff. I need Pitt to lose this week, though, against Miami. That's all I'll say. They obviously had a big win. SMU, it's not likely they'll lose, but if they do, that would be nice, too. I want to see Duke get in the playoff. That would be hilarious. They're obviously one of the more solid teams in the conference, despite having some bad losses. Arizona State, only team to beat Texas Tech this season. They deserve to be here. Tennessee has been a solid SEC team that isn't really good enough to make the playoff. In terms of, again, the resume and record, really, that's about it. Virginia, please lose to Virginia Tech. That would be hilarious. USC, not a bad loss to Oregon. The fact they're still this high is completely ridiculous for me. Texas, they're completely fine here. I mean, going up because you beat Arkansas is kind of shady, but whatever. Michigan should be moving up. I think if they do beat Lowbro State, they should make the playoff. That it seemed like an absolutely egregious decision from some people's part. But Notre freaking Dame should not be in the playoff, guys. Sorry about that. Who did Michigan lose to? They lost to Oklahoma, which is a completely reasonable loss. And they lost to USC, right? Yeah. If they beat Lowbro State, they should be in the playoff. Vandy, 9-2. They're not getting in, but they're playing Tennessee in a rivalry game. That should be awesome. Utah, there's some tough spot. Miami continues to creep up. Everyone's going to talk about. They have the head-to-head over Notre Dame. Guys, Miami, they had 2 bad losses this season. There's no, again, they haven't, you can't, bad losses are something that, again, I think are inexcusable. Oh, it's hard to play a good 11 games. Guys, Indiana freaking almost lost to Penn State, guys. Penn State is way better than the teams Miami lost to in terms of talent. They still won that game. If you are a legit college football playoff team, you don't lose those games. I'm going to continue to argue that. Cool, Miami's talented. They have 2 horrible losses in their schedule. That needs to be punished. Notre Dame, they've lost 2 of the better teams in the country. Like, if you lose to Miami, they had the head-to-head. Low-key, they probably should be over Notre Dame. But Notre Dame only lost to A&M, who's one of the top 3 teams in the country. So, Notre Dame has good losses. Miami's losses are horrible. I'm going to keep talking about this. You can't lose those games. Notre Dame, 2 games you lost to very, very closely. I can understand that. Miami, stop with the conversation on them. It's that simple. I don't care how good you are. BYU, they're not getting in. I'm just going to tell you guys that right now. I'd have Vandy up here. That's all I'll say. And I don't know about Utah. That's definitely a conversation for a different day. Bama, 9-2. They're the team that everyone's talking about. Are they good enough to get in? They should get in. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening this week. If they lose Auburn, that'll make things a heck of a lot easier. Just throw Miami in there. But honestly, I put Michigan over Miami. A lot of people be like, what the hell are you talking about? But I would actually do that. If they beat Lowbro State, bro, get them over Alabama. That's all I'll say there. Notre Dame, kind of talked about. Oklahoma, they're again, as long as they don't blow it this week, they should be hosting a playoff game. That's all I'll say. Ole Miss, they dropped the spot because they didn't play. I don't really love that. Again, they're a better team than Oklahoma. They beat them in Norman. But Ole Miss is definitely an interesting team. Oregon, big-time win. I don't think they're this good, but we'll see about that. Texas Tech, they're probably the most dominant team in the country so far this season. As long as they, again, don't implode these last 2 weeks, they will get in the playoffs. This is probably, if I had to guess, maybe a first-round bye. It depends on what happens to Georgia in the SEC Championship, who, more or less, is obviously, I think, a better team overall than Texas A&M, who obviously still undefeated, so we'll see about that. A&M plays Texas this week. That'll be really fun to watch. Indiana and Ohio State are still top. They have monster games. Not Indiana. They're playing Purdue. Who knows what happens to them, though. They're going to Ohio State, Louisville State. We all know about that stuff. Again, they have the biggest game of their season this week as well. With that said, though, finally getting to these actual predictions here. After all that yapping. I told you I was going to yap. Egg Bowl. Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. This game's going to be Ole Miss. Is not to win. I mean, if they lose, they're going to make it out of the playoff. That'd be hilarious. They're not losing this game. That's all I'll say. I mean, Mississippi State. Bowl eligibility on the line. New Mexico is going to be San Diego State. I don't think they're that. No, this is tough. San Diego State. My bad. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. They had a really bad loss to Hawaii recently. I'm just not feeling this game. They're just really not that good of a team. New Mexico obviously isn't great either, but at least they have some little bit more firepower in my opinion. Texas A&M versus Texas. Texas A&M pulls it out. I like how their defense is going to adjust here against Ark Manning. Arizona versus Arizona State. I'm going to say Arizona pulls this one out. Upset, I guess, against Arizona State here, but Arizona State doesn't have their quarterback, and I don't trust them against that defense. We'll leave this one for last. I'm going to have to pick Miami to beat Pitt, because, again, if Pitt loses, they will... Again, there's a chance for Duke to get in the playoff. Miami should win this game. They're a way more talented team. And, again, if they are this talented, they'd win this game by triple digits. That's all I'll say. Western Kentucky versus Jacksonville State. I think one of these teams gets like Conference USA bet or something. We'll actually ignore that. I'm going to say Jacksonville State wins because I like where they're going. Oregon versus Washington. Washington, I think, outside of last year, if I'm not mistaken, has beaten Oregon like every single year here. And honestly, guys, I'm going to pick Washington to win this game. Honestly, they just had a terrible game against Wisconsin, who's somehow played good football the past couple games. But again, Washington, they've had Oregon's number here the past couple years. Like, I understand Oregon won last year, but it really wasn't that, it was a pretty close game. Yeah, oh, it wasn't? They won by that much? Damn, I had no idea it was that bad. Yeah, I didn't know it was that bad. Well, honestly, guys, I'm going to pick Washington to pull back because they did beat, oh, this is tough. Honestly, give me Washington. I like the upset. Vandy, Tennessee. Vandy's going to win that one. And then we have Ryan Bowl. I'm picking Auburn to win it. That would be, again, it's Jordan-Hare Stadium, guys. You never really know about that. And then for Louisville State versus Michigan. Oh, this is so fun. Realistically, guys, this is probably Ohio State's best team they've had in like 10 years, to be honest with you guys. They really haven't had one close game. Obviously, Texas game was pretty close, though. Again, the offense didn't really do a lot in that game. But other than that game, guys, this defense average is like, giving up less than 10 points a game. But as you all know, last year, obviously Ohio State won the national championship. But if that game, guys, if that game was, again, the 14 playoff, they wouldn't have made it. Michigan, they were 5-6 coming into that game. What did they do? Or they were 6-5. My bad. Pulled it off. And that was it. That was it. Louisville State's horseshoe there. So I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. And points. What are we gonna say score is? I'm gonna say that. Do with that as you will. Save those. Okay, I'll do the confidence thing on my own. That's all I got for you guys here in college football. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'll have probably some reaction to Louisville State losing probably for the... Yeah, I'd probably... maybe the Monday night preview. Yeah, probably the Monday night preview if I had to guess. But I'll have y'all the recap to all this crap. Obviously for the Thanksgiving games tomorrow. Other than that, though, I'll have you guys for the not Thursday night prediction. The Black Friday preview, that's coming out sometime tonight, actually. No, Thanksgiving night, that's coming out. And I'll have the recap for that on Saturday. Then obviously we'll have the Sunday predictions coming out sometime on Saturday as well. Very busy week, guys. This is one of the crazier weeks of the season, but I'm here for all of it. So hope you guys enjoy all these college football games. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. That's all I got for you guys here. And yeah, see you for the recap of Thanksgiving games tomorrow.
Start with A.J. Dillon in the backfield, but it's a fake. Love protected. Love going deep. Christian Watson, the intended receiver, and he's got it. A big play up top on the first play. And what a start for these Packers. Watson for 53.
Well, I think they were listening to our open on camera. They said they got to throw it deep, early, and often. Christian Watson kind of had an up and down season. He's their big play threat down the field, ball slightly underthrown, but those are the